So for us to break up this sort of tiling effect, it's not overly strong right now. I mean, you can see it, but it's not too bad. But what we want to do is just break that up a little bit. As we layer up the shaders on top of each other, it'll become less of a problem, but it's good to just increase the amount of sort of breakup that's happening. So let's go back a step and just apply one of our shaders to this without being in a mix. So let's apply this one. Now you can see it's quite nice. It looks all right. I mean, we've just got very obvious tiling. So one of the ways we can go ahead and break this up, I've set it up here, and it's just using a AI color correct. If I just delete that and set it up again, what we can do is use a noise and a color correct. So let's create an AI color correct and then feed the albedo into that and out color to base color. And then let's create an AI noise that we're going to use to drive the effect. But first we want an AI range as well to help us to just control the noise. So let's input that to the AI range. And actually, so we can see the noise easier, but while we set it up, let's just drop that into the base color first. Because at the moment, we can't really make out what's happening with the noise. So let's just reduce the scale of that to 0.1. We're going to want a little bit more than that actually, so let's go 0.05. Yeah, that's okay. So we'll use this as a breakup. Also increase the octaves to 8, just so it's more detail. And then the AI range, we want to use this to increase the contrast essentially. So just nudge the input max up a bit and the input minimum, just nudge that a little bit so we get, yeah, some nice contrast in our noise. So that ought to do the job, I think. Let's just increase the max a little bit more. Actually, decrease the max so we get the still more contrast. So that can be a basic sort of a starting point. Now feed the IO range, take the out color red, and put it into the mask of the color correct, and then put that into base color. So now we've got this color correct. Let's just show what was going on. So if we crank up the exposure, you can see that's the noise map there. So we don't want to go too crazy with it. It's just a little sort of visual trick. So yeah, something like that is just enough to make sure that there's less evidence of tiling. And as I said, as we proceed with layering things up, that'll become less and less obvious anyway. But it's good to do this with our base textures. So let's go to our other one and assign that rock cliff material. And again, we just want to go in and just fix up the, where's the albedo? Oh, there it is. The AI color correct with that as well. And we can just use the same noise for this actually. So let's just drop that in there, put the out color here, and let's borrow that noise we just created. We'll use that range and we'll feed that into the mask, red channel to the mask. And then once again, let's maybe see what happens if we darken it, -1. There's not a whole lot happening there, so let's go back to 0 there. Let's try the gamma instead. Nope. Let's crank that back up. All right, so why don't we, if we drop the, let's increase the exposure. Let's just see if we actually, yeah, we are getting our effect there. Yeah. Okay, so again, it's broken up a little bit there. The tiling, you can still see it a little bit. I think that's from the normal map actually. So now when we go back to applying our mix shader, none of this will be immediately obvious, I don't think, but it's just something to help us to make sure that we've got some kind of break up in our textures. And actually, now that we've applied that, we can see with our curvature mask, perhaps we ought to just push that mask a little bit more as well with an AI range. So let's drop that there, grab the out color and red channel to the mix. And if we just, let's just see how far we can push this. So let's increase the input minimum. Okay, and now let's just try the input max. Okay, so there you go. You can see the effect very subtly here. So we want that to be a little more obvious. So let's go back to our texture for the top half. So let's drop another color correct. In fact, yeah, let's drop another color correct. Into there, and then use this to just pump the numbers a little bit. So, okay, now we can see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, so now we have this effect and we've got a little bit more breakup. We can tweak this later on, but for now, what we want to do is we'll go ahead and start layering up the lower regions, the lower grassy areas with more megascans. So let's progress to that.